Hey everybody, it's Michelle back again to tell you about this week's episode, and it's a fun one. This is a continuation of my last episode where I told you all about my big announcement and my relaunch and rebrand to Standout Women, and I told you things would be coming. Well, this week is another update. So this week is another continuation of all the things that will be coming with Standout Women. You see, last week I hosted my first brand and business retreat where I hosted 4 women for the first Standout Women Amplified Brand Your Way to a Bigger Business event in New Orleans. We all met from all over and really got together and just had a 2-day itinerary of branding events, PR, collaboration, 101s, learning all about personal branding and PR to amplify ourselves. These women have all started their businesses probably in the last 6 or 7 years. So we really deep dived on where we really need to expand, where we really want to, go bigger. And I had a blast. We learned together. We collaborated together. We had fun together. It was just like no other experience. So I had women from Atlanta, Georgia, Michigan, and 2 from Sydney, Australia, where one of them is my LinkedIn bestie, co-author and co-host of the LinkedIn Branding book and the LinkedIn Branding show, Michelle J Raymond. That will have to be an episode in itself to meet the co-author of your book from, around the world. That was like no other. But if you're feeling really stuck in your business and perhaps, you're just kind of tired of staying online, I'm not going to downplay the power of meeting people globally online. That's what I've done to build my brand and my business, but we need in real life connection. It is an energy and transformation that will keep you going like no other. And that's exactly what happened. I'm still glowing. We all are from last week's incredible event. And I really wanted to give a shout out this week. This episode you're hearing is a LinkedIn Live we hosted in the French Quarter where we're staying in the courtyard of the hotel. And you'll hear these women share their business tips, how they started their business, some of the things they didn't do, and just hear the stories. And that's exactly what I envision, having women coming together, sharing everything they're doing, learning from each other, collaborating, having fun, energizing each other. So I know you'll enjoy this episode that really dives into that. You'll feel the energy. I'll be hosting more of these events throughout the year, and it looks like the next one will be in late April in New Orleans. So get in touch with me, and I will be announcing this shortly, but it's going to be a small group setting, or if you're interested in a VIP day with me, get in touch with me because I'd love to chat with you. But enjoy this episode, feel the energy, and I know you'll learn something. So I'll catch you next week. Take care. Hey there, it's the brand therapist, Michelle B. Griffin, and welcome to your weekly personal brand therapy session. As a certified personal brand and PR strategist, speaker, and author, I'm here to empower you to put yourself out there so you can find clarity, build visibility, and grow your industry authority. I'm super excited you're here. Now let's get going with today's session. Welcome everybody, live from New Orleans, French Quarter, coming to you all about how to build and boost your brand on LinkedIn. And this is part of the Build Your Way to a Bigger Business event I'm hosting. And I cannot be more excited to welcome some amazing women to this event, to New Orleans, and some to the U.S. for the first time. So without further ado, hello, everybody. I'm Michelle Griffin, the brand therapist and founder of Standout Women. You will hear the St. Louis Cathedral probably chiming in, maybe even the fountain behind me. And I want to welcome to the show, in no particular order, Rachel Simon. And I would also like to welcome Brenda Meller, all the way from Michigan. You will all introduce yourself in a minute. And of course, who has traveled the farthest, Michelle J Raymond from Sydney, Australia. We are having so much fun, and we are here to really talk about how these amazing women have built their personal brands and businesses on LinkedIn. So let's get started. And we're going to do what we do best, ladies, just kick it off and chat and get to know a little bit more about your personal brand. So Rachel, tell us exactly what you do. Then we'll go to Brenda and Michelle and throw out some questions and let's do it.
I'll try my funny line again, which is that I do the wobble on Bourbon Street. But in all seriousness, I help companies clear off the digital dust that has accumulated on LinkedIn. So I work with B2B companies on LinkedIn, training to get their people leveraging the platform, much like my friend They're right here.
We'll go to Brenda and then Michelle. We're going to get into it. So Brenda, tell us what you do with your brand and your business.
Well, I am delighted to be here. I help people get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie. The only pie I've seen so far in NOLA has been my chair in my room, which looks like a cherry lattice-shaped pie. I will try to get some pie before I leave here, but I help people get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie, and it's such an honor to be with all of you here today.
Well, Michelle, you've traveled the farthest, so we hear what you do for those who have not met you yet.
Well, if anyone hasn't met me, I don't normally sound like this. Just so you know, this is the consequences of traveling and talking too much. So I'm having a ball in New Orleans and so great to meet all of you guys. But I'm Michelle. I love to help people leverage LinkedIn to grow their B2B businesses. So I'm based in Sydney, Australia. So it is amazing to actually be here with all of you guys right now. Like, it is super cool. Like, I can actually hug you and say hi and, go out and sing 90s grunge songs together and, watch a little karaoke. And the wobble, I didn't know what the wobble was until last night, but I've been educated.
We are doing a lot of brand education, business building, and New Orleans and fun and eating. We're doing all the things. But, the reason why we're all together is to really just build and boost our brands together, learn more. But you all three have remarkable stories how LinkedIn has created your brand and your business. So for those who are just, on the sidelines, want to get on LinkedIn, want to really get that brand out there, let's just hear it from you all. Because I think let's talk about when you started your businesses and what was your first thing and some of the best tips. Rachel, when did you start your business?
2018. And I will be honest, I had really no idea what I was doing. So I was, had been doing marketing consulting for a couple of years, which I wasn't doing any brand building. I had no brand. It was just like, oh, Rachel, she does some marketing stuff. You should talk to her. And so when I launched Connect Digital, I did what a lot of new business owners do. Like, okay, I have a company now. I need a logo. I need a website. I need something so people will take me seriously. And it was a learning process. Actually, the logo I use now is the logo that I created back in 2018. I've just refined it a little bit, but, kind of going through the process of thinking about, I never thought about building a brand. I thought about it as I need these collateral pieces in order to be taken seriously. I learned so much along the way of how you take those attributes and then actually turn them into something that is more of a brand and more memorable.
So you're like some of the clients that I work with that are in their scale up phase. You just launched without doing the foundational brand. I love that story because there's so many of us that do.
I had no idea what I was doing. Like
So 2018 for you, but I think Brenda, you were 2019.
So I started a side hustle, and then 2017 was where I dabbled at the very end of the year. And then 2018 in January was when I stopped looking for a job. So I really, I think 2016 was when my LLC got started, but like 2018 January was really when I became full-time in Meller marketing.
Very much like other clients I work with who are, leaving corporate. So this is why I love what I do, because women is all different stages of the owning your lane journey, right? We are owning our lane. And I love this. So interesting thing is we're all, women entrepreneurs, look at corporate role and start here in business and the brands. We're having too much fun here, so forgive us. I'm trying to make
This is like when you're pro, and we were like, this was like an impromptu type of an event. And we were talking about like, what do we do and how do we do different? Like, this is like the true sign of expertise. Like, we came on today with a loose agenda, but then we thought, well, let's do a StreamYard, but let's not all be on the same camera. Let's all be on our own. And then let's not just be on our own, but let's treat some people later. Release ourselves to give people like a little something extra.
They're all like behind me in this long courtyard. But anyway, it's so much fun. That's why I do the brand and business retreats, because we have so much fun together, but we also learn so much together. We've had so many breakthroughs. Michelle, you and I both started, I believe, in 2020. So tell us the short version of what that looked like for you.
Yeah, look, my business, I never planned on being an entrepreneur. Ultimately, what happened was I went from the high of winning a $2 million order from a LinkedIn post to 3 weeks later having to quit that same job. So it was pretty crazy. So I just decided I wasn't working for anyone else. So I'd never done any planning or, thinking about what a business would be. So I kind of faked it till I made it. And, it was somewhere in there. I would say part of my branding and getting known for LinkedIn company pages back in the beginning was ultimately because when I came to talking about LinkedIn, everybody else seemed like they already had their piece of the pie, as Brenda would say. And so I looked around and no one else was really talking about company pages until I met Brenda, a little bit further down the track. And so I thought, I'm just going to play in my own little sandpit over here. Everybody else can fight over the rest. And, if it wasn't for me kind of thinking that, and then Michelle Griffin, you kept me on track because I wanted to give up. I wanted to throw it all away because it was in the too hard basket. I wouldn't be here today. Like, I wouldn't have got to speak at Social Media Marketing World. And so this is the kind of craziness for me, the fact that you can get known for something and that one little moment can get you to the other side of the world speaking. Like, it's just crazy.
And then you'll be speaking in Denmark in June with Small Walk LinkedIn Monsters. Truly the concept of owning your lane, Michelle. Like you owned it and you went in there even when there was maybe no one around. So this is really a good topic to segue into how maybe some of us who didn't do the foundational work kind of started broad. Like, how do I really find my place? How do I find my difference? Mm-hmm. So I'd like to talk about that. I know Brenda has it really well branded with the pie. I'll tell you, for me, when I jumped into it, Michelle knows that I struggled with, after 2021, everything that brother, sister, and third cousin put personal branding in their profile. And I'm like, Michelle, how do I differentiate? Like, I would share with her as a LinkedIn business bestie, and she was so good. And so funny, I don't know if anyone knows this, or maybe I haven't said it in a while, but the brand therapist came from Michelle because she's like, you really help people get out of their head. Like, I think he called it a counselor or something, which maybe
that was me. It helped me so much.
Yeah. So, but I'm like, you mean like a therapist? She goes, yeah, that. Because I don't think terminology as much in Australia. So I'm like, okay, I'll just be the brand therapist. And that was in November 2022. And that's when I really landed into it. And that is stick. Even my nephews know I'm the brand therapist. Like, they don't even pay attention. I'd be like, so we're the brand therapist. This whole concept is, get your brand, get your foundation, own your lane, and find.
I think like from the, I don't know what I'm doing with this business to just kind of like becoming known is, for me, it was a lot of based on relationships, like building relationships with people. She was the first person on LinkedIn to invite me on a live stream. Oh. And I was so honored when she asked me, like, this was several years ago. And I was like, Brenda Meller wants me on her live stream? Okay. So being able to build those relationships and associate with people who maybe have a bigger brand than you do, so that it helps to build your credibility. I mean, I think that for me, that's a lot of what has helped me along the way. And then having something memorable, like very large red curly hair. Doesn't hurt.
You have a really good, strong brand name. I mean, you're someone who's really leading with the business name. So, Brenda, you've been in business probably the longest. When did the pie branding come into effect?
So the backstory here is this is taking me back to the year 2018 when Meller Marketing was already in a full-fledged business. I was doing a presentation for the Sterling Heights Chamber of Commerce. Shout out to my friend at the Sterling Heights Chamber. And I did a themed presentation. It was all about social media for small businesses. And I decided to call it Social Media Pie. And then every slide was like, there's a picture of apples. And then the next slide was a picture of apple pie. And then it was a picture of bananas and then banana cream pie. And it was just a theme of the presentation. And I created a hashtag Social Media Pie with that. And it wasn't even just LinkedIn. It was like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I was talking about how to use social media for your business. At the end of the presentation, I was encouraging people to take pictures, post them online, do etc. And later that day and the next day, I saw pictures online, hashtag Social Media Pie. And there was a woman who did a blog about it, and she called it The Power of Social Media Pie. So I did what any smart marketer will do at that point, because I'm like, this is something that's kind of sticking. I went and reserved all the domains. You'll appreciate this, Michelle, because we had a conversation about domain registration. So I went and reserved Social Media Pie. I went on all the social media platforms and looked for the closest version of Social Media Pie that I could. Created the name, and it wasn't even at that time, I wasn't even thinking of calling a book Social Media Pie. It was just starting to create something around it. And I've even had people ask, have you thought about renaming your company Social Media Pie instead of Meller Marketing? And I really haven't gone into that direction, but that's how it all kind of came to be. And eventually when I wrote the book, I decided, gosh, I'm going to call it Social Media Pie, because then I don't have to have the word LinkedIn as a part of the book title, which can be a little bit of a tricky thing,
And
right?
you have also pie emoji everywhere. So that's another little
Yes.
part. Yes. You know, you
Yeah.
exactly what we were talking about. So when you have people kind of giving you clues in your brand or talking to you, like Michelle did to me, you got to own that because that's the memorable. That's what makes you top of mind and memorable. And that's what we want to do with brand. And also that just carving the foundation of how you want to be perceived. And Brenda, yours is very, people pie is very warm and giving. We talked about some of the things you're going to be talking about later, some of the new offers and services. You're really in the boost and explode stage. So Michelle, let's talk about your brand and the sticking point you have, especially because you were in San Diego with all these people who saw you for the first time. Tell us a little bit about that experience because it really shows the growth and explosion of your brand.
Yeah, I just want to talk about something that I found quite intimidating at first and then realized what an opportunity it was, and maybe other people can relate. And I think Rachel said something just before. Sometimes, like, how we look is part of our personal brand. So normally I've got a black polo shirt on. People always say I've never got a hair out of place. One of the things I guess when you're, putting your brand together that I've learned about is that there are things about us that we often think that other people would judge us for or not like us or it's uncool. And so for me, it's often been, oh, I don't look like anyone else. I've got short hair. Most other women have got long hair like you ladies. And so I used to think that was a bad thing. But when I was in the conference center, then I realized I stand out, and I think it's sometimes we spend all our time trying to blend back in again, and I don't know if it goes back to being at school or conforming or something, but, I think those things like Rachel said, her red curly hair, like that's what we know and love it. And so there are just things that are unique to us. And if you're someone that's been hiding it and trying to, pretend it doesn't exist or whatever, maybe it's your chance to actually double down and go hard on it. So what makes you unique as a person? And the same goes for your brand. If you can't do it with yourself or your brand, then what happens is you just blend in, be the thing that stands out. So, I found it really interesting to actually have people notice me for things like that. So I think the lesson that I learned, amongst everything is find your thing, own your thing, and be proud of that thing. Because for company pages for a long time, I wasn't proud of it. And I even had somebody pick me up on it. And, because I would go, yeah, I do company pages. It's not as cool as TikTok. People like, stop it, own it. And my mate Brenda behind me is probably nodding her head because back in the early days, she was definitely on team Michelle, stop doing that. So yeah, there's some of the lessons that I've learned that I didn't expect. But, branding takes a bit of strength to, own it and be who you are, but it pays off.
You've captured the essence of what my own your lane concept is, and so many levels too. It's not just the surface level, it's the deep inside. And when you're strengthened from internal, it projects. Just like, you didn't realize the subtle things in the external when you were like, but they're not as cool. So I love that you have all these wonderful in your corner. And we all hopefully would want that to respectfully say, Michelle, you don't realize what you're doing, but you just said two amazing things. Own who you are, externally, but then your inside too. So I love that. Own Your Lane is the concept of the book I'm writing in October. It's going to
I got to listen to Anne Handley's talk at Social Media Marketing World. And her talk is based around the Barbie movie. And if you've seen it, she's not about, being Barbie, the lead hero. It's all about embrace your weirdness, embrace your weird Barbie. So whatever your thing is that makes you the weird Barbie, who did they all turn to for help when they needed it? They went to Weird Barbie because they knew she would have the answers. So embrace the weird was Anne Handley's message. So I think that's stuck with me.
I love that idea. Yeah, I will say what has been that force over the last year for me is I cannot tell you how many people message me, tag me, and post about Taylor Swift now. Because if you don't know, my daughter turned me into a rabid Swiftie in the last 2 years, and I'm obsessed with her. And so I've connected with people because of our mutual love of Taylor Swift. So it doesn't have to even have anything to do with your business. It's just something that people know that you like. Could be a sports team, where you went to college, like whatever the case may be, but like something that you are passionate about. And then it's a point of connection with other people. And they associate you with whatever that thing is. And it's cracked me up.
We're almost to our time. Then we have so much to do with our branding and business sessions and some lunch and some fun things planned. Let's talk about for those who are just now starting to read. And
I think a couple lessons are, again, those relationships are so important. You cannot underestimate the value of just connecting with people that are going to help support you and who you are. So building a brand that is authentic to who you are and not being afraid to bring those aspects of your personality that make you unique and special, because ultimately, especially when you are a business owner, your clients are buying you. They have to connect with you. They have to feel an affinity towards you. And so if you're not showing up as the way that you are going to kind of be in that working relationship, then it's not going to be as successful. So just don't be afraid, to quote Michelle, to put yourself out there and take risks and do things that are uncomfortable and just have fun.
Fun has been the theme this 2-day retreat.
Can I say something too, Michelle? And so many things that have been like lessons learned, you can see parallels and you can learn things. And, and all of these things that we've experienced over the past 2 days, there's been like parallels. And just right now, we're in the courtyard of this hotel and there's just a group of people that kind of came in and they kind of like stepped in and then they stepped out, but then I think they were walking around. I noticed that they immediately came in and he was like, wow, it looks like something fun is happening back here. And then everybody else, because it was like in a normal setting, you might go, oh, I'm interrupting something, and they stepped out, but they could really tell that we were having fun and they all kind of stepped in. I almost invited the guy to come into the camera. I think when you create a brand that is authentic and it's fun and it's almost magnetic, what we try to do is create a genuine, consistent experience wherever we go, and we're continuing to grow. We're continuing to lift each other up. We're continuing to help build confidence. And we've even been brainstorming and helping each other with prospecting. And when we've been experiencing things in the city, I mean, even yesterday we were at lunch at the gumbo shop. Brandon, our waiter, came up to the table and he gave us the specials and then went away and came back and we ordered. And Michelle, I don't remember what it was that you ordered. And he's like, okay, but can I tell you, what did he say? Can I suggest something that's even better than what you just said?
Yeah. And no more cost to you. No additional
more cost. So we did an upsell and he said, no more cost to you. He knew that you had some dietary preferences and and then he walked away. And it's like when you get marketers in a room and things like that happen, we don't just go, oh, that was cool. We kind of dissect it and we're like, oh, that was upselling. And it was a really powerful technique where he was listening to the customer. He was aware that we were coming from out of the area and we wanted a unique dining experience, a memorable experience. From his perspective, I mean, he was upselling, but really wasn't increasing the ticket price. But at the end of the meal, when it came time to leave the gratuity, we probably took that into consideration. So there's even techniques that we're learning through. It's like experiential marketing. When you're going out, you're getting out of your own environment. It helps to grow your brand. So I just want to thank Michelle.
I wanted to really bring that collective wisdom. That's just the first of many I'm going to be doing, but we have learned so much from each other and just shared different insights. And that's been so powerful. I mean, yesterday, Brenda was by the pool waiting for her room and, you had your laptop and we were just really talking about some deep stuff. And we even going to collaborate on something down the road. So it's how we're not just building your brand together, but the connection. Isn't it just so powerful to be in person? I mean, that's the greatest episode.
The analogy I used yesterday was, if you have all seen the We Are the World, the making of the We Are the World video. If you haven't seen it yet, I think it's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a documentary. But they happen to get all of these celebrities together. It was like one of the awards performances nights. I can't remember. But there was a sign that said, leave your ego at the door, when they all walked in. And it was only the musicians and artists that were allowed, not their assistants, not their agents. And when they all got in, it was like, for them, it was like they were starstruck as well. And for us, it's like we are all familiar to each other. And how weird is it that Rachel and I have met in person, but how weird is it that we really have not met in person? And I was even telling my family before I left, I had a lot of friends before, when I was younger, before I had kids, and they have kids and you kind of grow distant. And I feel like a lot of my friends now that I'm closest to, I'm connected to through LinkedIn. Yes. And I really haven't seen you in person, but we chat on the phone, we get on Zooms. Michelle Raymond got me on WhatsApp, but we help and support each other. And Rachel and I, it was probably a year or so back that we got into conversation. And I said, let's jump on the phone. We need to kind of debrief and chat about this and support each other. But I feel like we're all very good friends to each other, but it's so weird. And Michelle Griffin, it was so adorable yesterday when Michelle Raymond hadn't arrived yet. Michelle Griffin's like, I feel like I'm a bride waiting. It's like the wedding day. It's like the first clock looking around the corner, trying to get when they first make eye contact the first time.
Truly a surreal in the best way moment. I mean, do you think we were talking about the story? We met in the comments in December 2020, started collaborating, and, did a podcast, wrote a book together, and we're almost at 100 episodes in just a few weeks. Just nuts in our podcast. And who knows where it'll take us. So almost 3.5 years later, I mean, it's just incredible. People think the coolest thing that you wrote a book with someone across the world. Like, it's mind boggling, isn't it? I mean, at least you and Linaire you were kind of close together in New Zealand, Australia. It's not as crazy as what we did, but that's the power of LinkedIn. That's the power of two, which we wrote about, bringing brands together and people together to really multiply today, yesterday, it's just been, I can't tell you, I'm so energized and kicked off. Just the power. And for those who wonder, how was it to meet? The minute we met, it wasn't awkward. It was just like, oh, hey, we picked up where we left off, right?
And I got to say, just to encourage people that if you are traveling, see who in that destination and make an effort to, grab a coffee or a drink or lunch or something, because I've had the opportunity to meet a good number of my LinkedIn connections. I met Kevin Turner in Texas, and Matt Zahn has come to Atlanta, and I met Brenda, and we had that big meetup in New York last year. It doesn't take that much effort to figure out who is where you might be. And if you can find the time, it's just so cool to meet people in person.
I'm going to say a shout out to Matt Zahn. I posted about this and he saw it. And so we were able to meet in person and eat lunch on Tuesday before we arrived. And I showed him all around the French Quarter. We had a great time with Cafe du Monde. He had never been to New Orleans. And we're going to collaborate on some stuff in a couple months. So that is the power of in person. And we really helped each other with some things. And so, yes, put it out where you'll be, because you never know who's going to be there. And you can really impact each other in so many ways. So is there anything last, ladies? Michelle, did I cover your brand story?
It's fine. I only flew across the world to come and have this conversation. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for being so amazing. I can't tell you how it just made me smile, and Lil as well, because the fact that you guys would come here to see me and meet me and make me so welcome, and all my gifts and all that kind of stuff. It's just the best experience. This is something that I'm going to have with me forever. So I love you all, and I just appreciate you all for everything that you've helped me to get me to where I am. So LinkedIn's a team sport, people. So, find some cool people on your team. Thank you. And to those people who couldn't come, like G, Sue Griffey, there was a number of other people who tried to rearrange their schedules to come. I know our paths will cross some other times.
You're going to be back speaking. So this is just the first of many. Put that vision out there. I just want to give a special shout out to all of you who came and just were having so much fun together and just learning together, collaborating together, and just spreading really good. Like Michelle and I are Michelle Squared Brand. We're really here for business for good, which everyone here is. And I'm going back a new person. I don't know about you, but just getting energized, seeing you, learning from you.
When you get the chance to meet people in person, try to do something like this, not just meet in person, but make it a live event. Yes.
Have fun. Let the good times.
I feel like we should go dance in the fountain like they did in Friday's video.
We're going to sign off, but thank you all. Take care. That's a wrap for today's brand therapy session. Are you ready to get visible and build your personal brand? Then head on over to thebrandtherapist.io and grab my free resources to get unstuck and get going today. And until next time, thanks for listening.